I'm still experimenting with my ND filter, my plus 10 or my 10 stop ND filter, and this is one of the results of more experimentation with that filter. What I've done here is taken essentially a long exposure, although not that long exposure. It's a 4-second image exposure, and I've tried to add something in this photo that is a little more interesting than just streaks. So in a couple of the photos I posted this year, actually of fountains, kind of like this one, you can see that the long exposure of it has sort of turned the surface of the water into this smooth, glassy surface. And that's cool. I like that effect. But when I was taking this picture, I thought, well, what's something else I can do that's not just a fountain that looks really nice and smooth, and the surface of a pond looks really nice and smooth. And I thought, well, if there's a way I can have an object in here that is normally moving but frozen in time for the length of this exposure, it might look a little interesting. And so what I wanted to try and do was get a goose to sit still while I took this shot. And I've kind of done it here. I think this is a 4-second exposure, and it's really difficult to have a goose just sit there for 4 seconds. I mean, you can't just tell a goose, hey, don't move while I take this picture. So I had to wait patiently for a single goose to kind of meander across this pond. This is Theta Pond on campus, by the way. It's a different view of Theta Pond. It's actually one of the side ponds in the northwest portion of the whole green park space. And when this one goose sort of wandered in and kind of sat there for a minute, I pressed the shutter button and initiated a 4-second exposure. And you can see the goose isn't perfectly still. There's a little bit of, it looks like blurriness along the left-hand side where the white part of the goose touches the water, but it's not bad. And it's probably the best I could have hoped for. And in that 4 seconds, I pretty much got an approximation of what I was hoping to get. So the surface of the pond is fairly smooth. The fountain is pretty smooth, having gone for 4 seconds like that. And the goose is almost still. So you get this kind of interesting effect where you can tell that something's not quite normal about this photo, where this goose is decently clear. Could be better, but it's decent. But the pond does not look like it normally does. So it creates this kind of strange effect. It almost looked like the goose is photoshopped in, but I promise you it's not. If it were photoshopped in, it'd be a lot clearer. I would have done a much better job than what you see here. But this gave me some interesting ideas to play around with. Now, you could also have like a stick or some static object in the shot, and that would work, but it wouldn't have quite the same effect. So I hope I can take a shot kind of like this again, where there's an object that's normally moving that's holding still on a pond like this, like Theta Pond, that is displaying a lot of motion, but that motion has been smoothed out. I don't know if any of that makes any sense. In the end of the day, I think this is just kind of a cool photo, and I hope you like it too. I don't know. I'm having fun with this ND filter and looking forward to doing more experimentation with it.